Hi everyone, I'm Rincey and this is Rincey Reads. So as you guys can tell, this is a little bit of a different video. I'd mentioned in one of my older videos about how I bullet journal, and a bunch of you guys talked about how you wanted me to make a video about how I bullet journal. First off, I'm going to leave a link to the original bullet journal video so that way you guys can check that out if you guys have no idea what bullet journaling is. It's basically like a form of making your own planner or to-do list. I've started doing this in like January of 2014 and I've been doing it ever since. And my version is very like utilitarian. I don't try to make my journal look pretty. So if you want to see something like that, I suggest just YouTubing bullet journaling because there are plenty of videos out there and this is not one of those. This is literally just my method, and my method might not work for anyone, but it works well for me, and I'm constantly refining my method too. So anyway, this is the journal that I bullet journal in. This is just a regular hard moleskin. I've had this one since 2014 when I started bullet journaling, and it's like super beat up and dirty. The pages are stained and gross, and you can see I've only used about half of the pages in here, which is why I never bought a new one. The person who does bullet journaling or came up with bullet journaling suggests getting a new journal every single year, but that feels extremely wasteful to me. I'm thinking about getting a new one for 2016 just because I've passed the halfway mark in this one and I've started using up more pages towards the end of the year, so I might start a new journal in 2016. And also there's again changes I've been wanting to make and things like that, so 2016 might be the year where I get a new one, but I definitely have been using this one for the past 2 years. So the way bullet journaling works is that, ignore the washi tape, this was just me testing out some washi tape. The way it works is that your first page is supposed to be an index. As you can tell, I've been using this journal for 2 years and I haven't been keeping up with my index, and there's two reasons for that. I don't know if you guys can see this down here in the corner. Let me move the journal up so you guys can see. My corner pages are all like turned up, like they all started turning up, and so there came a point where I was numbering my pages. I couldn't see the numbers anymore because the corners kept folding over. Like this just happens naturally now after like a day or two. Like this is where I'm at right now in my bullet journal. And these pages clearly aren't overturned, but this one is. So yeah, I stopped numbering my pages and I stopped using the index because it just wasn't really working out for me. When I start the new one, I think I am going to start doing the index again. The new journal I want to get is a Lichtern 1917. I probably completely butchered that. Lichtern. It's a German company, so I don't know how to pronounce that. I apologize to all of my German viewers. And that one has an index page already printed in it, and it already has numbered pages. It's basically the same thing as a moleskin, but it's also supposed to be higher quality paper. Moleskin paper is like really cheap, I guess you could say. It's really thin. It bleeds very easily. I don't know if you guys can tell, but like even just using a ballpoint pen, you can see shadowing happening through the pages. I actually don't know if this is showing up on camera, but yeah, there's definitely shadowing that shows up, which doesn't really bother me that much. Oh, you can definitely see it here. It doesn't really bother me that much, but it's definitely a thing that happens. So first page index, and this is where you list like if you make a collection of some sort, or if you make like a to read list, or you make a list of books you have read in the year, you can write 2015 reads and then the page number that it's on, so that way you can refer back to it if you need to. Another thing that I tried to do but didn't work out doing was doing the month-long list. I don't like the way this month looks. As you guys may have seen when I was flipping through the pages, I started doing my months like this. I made my own calendar basically in bullet journal because I like the way that looks better than the way that this looks. This is like way too confusing for me. I could never figure out where I was in the month, and organizing things got really confusing. And also this doesn't leave a lot of space to put things into my days. My days are super packed and busy and there's lots of stuff I want to remember about them, and this doesn't really work. This page is my monthly goals. I don't do monthly goals as much anymore, but it is a thing I do want to get back to, I think. So you put down the date and you put your goals for the month and you mark them off as you did them. Obviously these are again from 2014, so this is really old. And future dates is not a thing anymore. If you watch that bullet journaling video, you'll see how he handles it. This is a thing I was tracking in 2014 that I clearly didn't track for all of 2014. So yeah, this is the actual to-do section. So when I first started off, I started doing the boxes with the check marks, but I didn't like that method. So I started just like crossing everything out and then like starring the things that were really important. A big thing for me is that things just visually make sense to me, that if I just glance at a page, I kind of know what I'm seeing. The check marks weren't really working out because I couldn't really just glance and see what it was done and what wasn't. Another thing that I do is I color code. Different categories have different colors. So blue is personal, purple is work. Like when I'm at my job, I kind of only care about the to-dos that are for my job. So by putting them in a different color, I was able to differentiate them from the rest of the to-dos. So color coding is a huge thing for me. I have a bag of pens that I keep in my purse. If you watched my fall book haul and you saw that bag I got from the Strand, I use that as my pen bag. So I have a bunch of different colors in there. The reason why bullet journaling also really works for me is the fact that the whole thing is that if you ever need to like brainstorm or brain dump, in my case, a lot of times all you have to do is like flip a page and you can just do that brain dump. And if I wanted to figure out where this brain dump was, I would like make a note of whatever this dump was and put it in the index. A thing I started doing, because I don't index anymore, is I would like fold up pages, because a lot of times my brain dumps I just need temporarily or for like the next week or something. So I would like fold up the corners like this so that way I could flip through the pages easily. Another thing I've seen people do online is they color like the edges. So like if this is something related to my video, so I might color these two squares purple right here at the edge, so when you're flipping through the edges you can see the colors, but I'm too lazy to do that sort of thing. Another reason why I like bullet journaling, especially in this grid or squared journal, is the fact that it's really adjustable to whatever I need. So as you can see, like I have days where all I do is make long to-do lists or other types of to-do lists. Sometimes I just need to like do some basic math, and so I just take a page to do the math, and it's not a big deal if that's in the middle of my like week. A thing I started doing recently, because my days have just been getting so busy, is that I actually make like hourly week-long charts and each page. So this is like the Monday of this week, or not of this week, of a week. And so I wrote down all of my to-dos, and I was getting really overwhelmed by everything I had to do during the week. So what I did is I made this little hourly chart, and I actually like filled in during the week when I would get things done, to show my brain that I could actually get everything I need to get done during the week. Especially on Mondays, I get really anxious about all of the things on my to-do list and whether or not I'm going to have the time to actually do all those things. I would just fill in everything I was doing, and all of this was estimates, and all of this is done in pencil. This is all done in Sharpie pen. So if I needed to change something during the actual thing, it wasn't a big deal. I would just erase it and rework it. I would put in like things I had to attend in Sharpie pen, so that way I was like, there's no way that's changing. Also, you can see like I've divided up this section, so this half is a to-do list, this half is a list of numbers that will make no sense to anybody but me. But yeah, again, like this is a completely flexible system that can work for however you want it to work. That's one of the reasons why I love watching bullet journaling videos too, is because you can see how different people use their journals and you can adapt that. One of the things I saw is the month-long spread. So you guys are seeing a preview of my Vlogmas calendar. Spoilers for future videos, potentially. So what I did is I made this month-long calendar. Each of these squares is 5 by 5. Is it 5 by 5? 7 by 7? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 by 7, not 5 by 5. And then this is like 4 by whatever, 49. So if you wanted to have a monthly spread in your journal at the beginning of every month, what I would do is I would just make this and then fill in the needed things, whether you want to put in when bills are due, or you want to put in some events you're attending, or people's birthdays, whatever. You can do all of that in here like a typical bullet journal. The way I'm using it is that I put in all of the Vlogmas things, and so for my videos I have a very specific method of putting items into my to-do list. So for a review I was recording, what I do for my to-do list is I don't just write down review video, I write down every single step that I need to do for the review video. So it's record the review, edit and upload, info, which means the description, and thumbnail, annotations and cards, and captions. And I mark off every single thing for that video as I do them. Or in this case, the captions I transferred over to the next day, where captions, here, review captions. I think this is a really important part of doing to-do lists, is like being specific about your to-dos, because a lot of times if you just write down video and then you work for like an hour and you only get like 2 or 3 of these items done, it can feel like you can't really cross off the to-do list. So I like writing down every single step and then crossing off every step as I do them. For some people that might seem like a little bit redundant, but I think like the fact that there are so many steps, 1, I want to make sure I do all the steps, and 2, it like helps motivate me to keep going through my to-do list as I check things off. Oh, another thing I did is I put a little bookmark down here. This is just one of those little magnetic bookmarks. I had an extra one. I just clipped it onto my Vlogmas page just so I would be able to turn to it quickly, because I know I'm referencing it a lot. So for Vlogmas, what I did is I wrote down the same steps on every single day. These are my book riot days, so they have different steps. And then as I'm completing each one, I am putting a sticker on it. I left the titles or the top 2 lines blank so I can write down my ideas for each day. And I wrote it in pencil so that way I can move I've been moving things around or changing my ideas. So this might be a good idea if you are someone who likes to plan videos or doesn't plan videos now but wants to plan videos. You know, having a calendar like this is really, really helpful. Even if it wasn't Vlogmas, I have something like this, except I just use Google Calendar, but I think I'm going to actually switch over to this paper method because I kind of like this a lot. But basically, I always plan out my videos, which is why I very rarely miss videos, or I'm good at sticking to a schedule, because I basically plan out my month. And this is also a really good way of just brainstorming, like writing down ideas. Like, as you can see, I've had no problem coming up with like 25 ideas, or a little bit less than 25 ideas, because these are the question Sundays. So I feel like the reason why I'm able to create so much content is because I'm constantly brainstorming, and that helps me create content, if that makes sense. So yeah, I think that's everything I have to say on bullet journaling. Like I mentioned, I want to get a new journal, so there's a couple of these things I want to start doing on a regular basis, like putting in the month spreads and then planning out my videos for every month. I do that on Google Calendar currently, where I just put in my video ideas in Google Calendar, which, by the way, I'm going to be doing a video on Google Calendar next week. But I kind of like this way because then I can write down the steps in here. And then in my to-dos, what I've been doing lately is I've just been writing down the actual video. So right here I just have Turner House video, and I know that just means to work on whatever part of the Turner House video. So yeah, if you have any questions about bullet journaling or the way that I specifically do it, feel free to leave that down in the comment section. I will do my best to answer questions as I can. Or if you do this, I would love to see your method of doing it, or how you to-do list or things like that. I'm going to have a video on Google Calendar and a video on the apps on my phone that I use for productivity and help keep me organized, things like that, because a lot of you guys always ask me those types of questions and I'm really bad at answering them until now. So yeah, that's all I have for now, and thanks for watching.